pay for it. Unfortunately, we may find ourselves in the situation where we cannot receive TV broadcast signals because the platform will be shut down.
More from the Communications Minister's question time in Parliament, where she categorically denied the government has sold its 30% stake in Vodafone.
Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana has no plans of selling its 30% shareholding in Ghana Telecommunications Company Limited.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Communications Minister Esler Wusu-Ekufo is warning tonight that TV signals to your homes and offices will be cut from next year following a shutdown of the digital terrestrial television platform. This will happen, the minister warns, because broadcasters, he alleges, are refusing to pay for its use. Well, she says government, which has been footing this particular bill, can no longer afford it. And this will have consequences next year.
None of the broadcasters on the DTT platform pay for using it as I speak. And this situation cannot continue in our current economic state. GIBA is not a broadcaster hosted on this platform. So I don't know in which capacity they would be acting. They have constituent members who are broadcasters on the DTT platform, but none of them have paid a peswa to date for being hosted on the platform. So it is not correct to state that any entity being hosted on the platform has paid for being hosted on it. They have not. There is actually matters pending in court because they have been notified that government has indicated that it cannot continue to pay for the operations and maintenance of this DTT platform. And so the users of the platform must pay for the services that they use. That notification has been sent to the broadcasters being hosted on the platform. Some of them are negotiating with the management of the DTT platform as to payment terms for it. Others are adamant that government should continue to pay. But my answer is clear. The government says it cannot continue to pay for it. So if they do not pay for it, unfortunately, we may find ourselves in the situation where we cannot receive TV broadcast signals because the platform will be shut down for non-payment of the operational expenses that it incurs. It is incurring. So I think it's incumbent on all of us to work together to ensure that this critical national information infrastructure stays operational.
Let's go to Parliament now. Of course, this will have consequences for everybody, considering that, as the minister warns, the platform will shut down, which means you will not get TV signals in your home. Kweku, this was triggered by a question.
Yes, Evans, this question stood in the name of Dr. Abednego Azuma Bandim, the MP for Bunkurugu, who wanted to ask the Minister for Communications the progress Ghana has made in terms of fully migrating from analog to digital terrestrial television. He was not excited at all with the responses the minister had given, and if you look at some of the arguments he put forth, he believed that the minister was not being necessarily candid with Parliament. Then came in Sam George, another member of the Communications Committee, who sought to clarify that this was such an important matter that could have such significant and severe ramifications for Ghana's economy. But the minister doubled down, clearly insisting that if these private broadcasters mainly do not pay up, early next year, the DTT platform will completely shut down, with mean TV broadcast services will not go to the home of the many Ghanaians who rely on that.
And when she announced this possibility, this doomsday scenario of waking up one morning and all your television channels are off, what was the reaction on the floor?
If you look at in particular the person who asked the question, Dr. Apawu, he really believed that this was such an important matter, and he believed the minister was not being especially very candid with the responses she gave. But perhaps the biggest response to the minister's comments came from Sam George, who is the deputy ranking member on the communications committee. So to suggest that the GIBA as an organization and the state also have some role to play in this, and that it will not be proper for the state to seek to put all this on the neck of private broadcasters mainly around the country who rely on this service to operate and to also go to the homes of so many Ghanaians who rely on the DTT, especially now that the analog system has completely failed out. The minister, in some part of her response, stated that only 3 channels are still maintaining analog masts across the country, which means a significant majority of Ghanaian broadcasters rely on the DTT. If that were to shut down, that will have significant concerns for these operators and so many Ghanaians.
And then also this controversial subject of whether or not the government has sold a stake in Vodafone. She clarifies this.
Yes, over the last few weeks, Hannah Ibrisi in particular has been raising a lot of questions about an alleged sale of government 30% stake in Vodafone. Today, the minister came to the floor to answer a question in the name of Roxy Nelson Emefa. The minister was categorical that government has not sold, has not thought about selling its 30% stake in Vodafone, and that indeed it is the majority stakeholder, Vodafone, that have sold its 70% stake to Telecel, and that process was still going on. And then as far as government is continued, there was no plan to sell.
Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana has no plans of selling its 30% shareholding in Ghana Telecommunications Company Limited. Vodafone Ghana, which holds 70%, has transferred its stake to the Telecel Group in February 2023. Under the shareholders' agreement, the consent of the minority shareholder is not required for Vodafone Ghana to transfer or to sell its shareholding in Ghana Telecommunications Company Limited. Consent is not required under the terms of the shareholders' agreement.
I want to bring in now Cecil Sunkwa Mills, is the president of the GIBA, that's the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association. Also joining me is Samuel George, who is the deputy ranking member on the communications committee. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Mr. Sunkwa Mills, so the minister gave this very ominous warning. Next year, the DTT platform will be shut down. Our signals will go off because broadcasters aren't paying. Is that the case, that we aren't paying? It says now a notice have been sent to members that if you do not pay, you're going off next year.
Thank you, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. Sorry, can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I've gone through the video of the statement, and I find it a bit unfortunate in terms of the direction, because if you would remember, GIBA has announced on a number of platforms that we need to have the migration process completed. Now, what has happened is that GIBA has been involved in the DTT program since inception. We have been a key part of it, even more than just being a stakeholder. Now, as we speak, a couple of months ago, there was an issue about fees, and there were 2 different dimensions. One was a fee from studio to the head end, that is where we broadcast, and then one is national broadcast. And in this discussion, the long and short of it was about using the right process of determining fees for such platforms. Let's remember that the DTT platform is a government platform, it's a single platform, so it is a monopolistic platform, and therefore the fixing of fees or rates must go according to the Rates and Fees Act, which has been passed, and which is run by a committee which sits on the finance and made up of various memberships. Now, unfortunately, the minister went ahead after we had a discussion with the select committee on this issue of arbitrary fees, because the minister did propose fees in a discussion which we were deliberately not invited, because she said we are not broadcasters, even though we know we are stakeholders and we are mandated to represent our members. Now, what happened at that event was that we, with the select committee present, we actually made it clear that there was a need for a clear procedure and transparent and fair, so we could decide on fees. At no stage has any broadcaster refused to pay any fees. It was part of the policy of building the platform, and nobody carries stations. We know every station knows that to distribute your content, it comes at a cost. So there's been no time that any broadcast station is refusing to pay. So after this conversation, the minister sent out invoices from the ministry to stations requesting them to pay a certain fee per month.
How much was this?
Well, initially in the conversation that we were not giving, the fee was proposed at $15,000 a month.
$15,000 a month per station.
And at a meeting where some of our members were, they asked the question that how did you come up with the figure? What made up $15,000 a month? Because remember that these stations also distribute channels on other platforms. So they told us to come back with us with a breakdown of how this they came out. But she said that they had done a consideration and they were looking at $10,000 a month.
So that's a reduction from the 15 to 10.
Yeah, that was, and for us, the point is that you cannot allot fees on a national platform where people use arbitrary. And as a minister, the minister does not have that legal right to be giving fees for such a platform. And this is the point we raised. After the meeting, the minister sent out invoices to stations, and then we consulted the court for a clear interpretation of what this meant. That can the minister do as she is saying or not? As it is now, we're in court waiting for that outcome and explanation.
But the bill on the table...
I don't think that should be a reason for that conclusion which has been delivered. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, while this case is in court, the bill on the table is for broadcasters, each broadcasting house, to pay $10,000 a month.
Well, that is what the invoice said.
That's what the invoice says.
The other thing is, and I think we'll come to that, is to manage the platform. We have not yet seen valid final policy for digital migration in Ghana, because the last policy that came out, Giba went to court, and part of the policy was expunged by the court as it became null and void, because they had wanted to use encryption to convert the whole DTT platform to a pay TV platform. And Giba said no. According to the constitution, this cannot be done, and we went for a legal interpretation, and the court sided with us. So that policy is not valid anymore. We need a refreshed policy. And even as I speak today, we do not have a refreshed policy. So how are we getting to do digital migration without a valid policy? And to the point where we are now pushing fees that have also not come from the Fees and Rates Act. The committee has not decided. And then you're going to shut down stations. I think something is not going the right way.
Stay with me.
Giba is ready to assist in any way to make sure that we migrate as early as possible, because that is our dividend, and that is what we use to reach the people for everybody, and so we would want to see it successful.
I mean, please stay with me, Mr. Sunkwa Mills. I want to bring in Sam George. He is the deputy ranking on the communications committee. Mr. George, the invoice that we've just heard about, $10,000 to each station, has that come to Parliament's attention at all? Have you considered?
Well, good evening to you and your. The point must be made that this whole thing about the charge is a long-standing principle from the days of Omanibuama when the DTT platform was built in 2015. There's always been an understanding that the DTT platform is not for free and that there will be a fee to be paid. The issue at stake now is the processes by which the fee is being determined. We as a committee have invited the ministry, we've invited GIBA. The ministry and GIBA need to come to a place where they have an understanding that it is not possible to proceed without one or the other, and that this matter would have to be discussed and agreed on, not litigated on. That's a point I need to make. Now, the ministry has originally determined a fee of $15,000 per station, which I personally believe is on the high side. Even though the DTT may appear to be a monopoly, as Mr. Sunkwa Mills put it out, there are other platforms, DTH platforms in the country, and there is a fair understanding or fair appreciation of how much those platforms charge the same TV stations for distributing their content. It's in the region of about $7,500. I hold the view that that would be a fair place to start off the conversation with GIBA's members. And even if GIBA were to be the umbrella body seeking audience with the ministry will have to engage GIBA. We've always engaged GIBA from the days of Omani Boama. And even under this minister, I've had instances where she's engaged GIBA as an umbrella body for the broadcasters. And so I think that the ministry itself must look at its position of saying that GIBA is not a broadcaster. Everybody knows GIBA is not a broadcaster. But GIBA holds a certain position in this whole conversation as the umbrella body of broadcasters. Except a station writes to the ministry and says that they don't want to be represented by GIBA, I believe that we need to give GIBA audience as a representative of the stations. But on its own, must also bear in mind that this freebie, for want of a better phrase, which should have started in 2015, President Mahama gave a 2-year moratorium and has been extended since 2015. We're in 2023 now. We'll have to come to a place where we all agree that something must be done in terms of payment by the broadcasters for the distribution fee. Same must be looked at for contribution link and all. That's a different conversation that we've also had with GIBA. But I believe that we need to have this position and say there is a management body that ought to have been set up, a management company for the DTT that should be there, and that body should determine the fee. The fee should be brought to Parliament, and Parliament will approve the fee as part of the Fees and Charges Act, which we do most times in November, December, along with appropriation, so that we approve the fees and charges to be charged, and then they can proceed to charge those fees of the broadcaster.
So this invoice that Sunkwa Mills talks about has not been approved by Parliament?
Well, as far as I'm aware, Parliament has not approved any 10,000 figure for distribution fee. So that in itself would not be a legal position by the ministry to take.
And Mr. Sunkwa Mills, you say obviously that $10,000 is too much. Sam George says this has to be paid for, and the conversation should be about how much should it be, collectively decided by yourselves and the ministry and government and other stakeholders. If it's not $10,000, how much is it? Have you made a counter proposal?
What we ask before you make a counter proposal on a specific figure, like any business, because remember, like I told you, that broadcasters also do their own distribution. Now there are different platforms that different people use. There's a range, and terrestrial may be different from the cost of satellite. So based on that, that's why the broadcasters ask that, what was the basis that they come up with this figure? Then we can do a comparative. We know some distribution can go as low as $4,000. But you see, for a national platform, if you want to use a national platform to also do distribution and to support the industry, in some countries it is even further rebated. But we haven't even had these discussions. So, we are open, and I think Honorable Sam George has said it, and he knows that GIBA is always open. We're very fair, but we're very firm, and to make sure that the media survives. Let's remember that with the fees of distribution, if it's exorbitant, it's another way that you can kill media. Because we know the situation in the media with some stations in terms of even financial sustainability.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the $10,000, and if you do a Kesri, conversion of that, you're talking about 120,000 CDs a month. That you can guarantee will kill a lot of broadcast houses in this country.
So, Evans, I don't want to take the wind out of any sail and use this platform as a basis for discussion. We should sit around the table. They should create a proper management body for the DTT platform. That's also another issue that is pending. And I think we've lost so many years not just putting these structures together. And now we get to the point where we're going to switch off stations. I don't think it is right.
But let's address that. Let's address that. The minister, nonetheless, has told Parliament today in categorical terms, and next year they're shutting down the platform. And she says that this notices have already been sent to your members. Have you received that notice?
Is it a notice of a shutdown or a notice of an invoice? We're not clear.
Okay. Well,
I don't know
what notice can you confirm your members received?
If I know they received invoices, because if a member received a notice for a shutdown, that will definitely come to our notice. There's a separate case of a station which has been shut down because of a fee, but it's a slightly different issue. And it's also one of the reasons why we are in court.
But now you have the notice. It's been set on the floor of Parliament, the House of Records. That puts you on notice formally. What's the approach going to be from tonight?
Well, we wait and see. We have not seen any notices. If we do see a notice, we'll see. Maybe it may not be a notice. Maybe it will be an invitation for a conversation. And let's hope that next year runs till December.
Sam George.
Evans, let me be fair to the minister. If I heard her right on the floor of the House, she did not serve notice of the close down of TV stations, in all fairness to the minister. What I heard her say was that if we did not get to a place where people were going to pay, broadcasters were going to pay for distribution, given the current economic status of our country, government cannot continue to bear the bill, which so far has come to about $62 million. And so if we were not able to get broadcasters to pay, then the DTT itself, the infrastructure itself, will have to shut down. And if that infrastructure shuts down, then it means there will be no broadcast. Because don't forget that the DTT is infrastructure that has been built, but the distribution is through a service of a third party, which we have to pay for, which government pays for. And that, the minister told us today, has come to some $62 million already.
62.
That's
62
not
million.
a bill that we can continue to, government should continue to shoulder. And so the point here is we need to prevent the DTT infrastructure from shutting down because of payments to its third party. How do we do that? It's either government continues to underwrite the bill or broadcasters begin to pay the fees for the infrastructure. And so I think that what we need to do to avoid a shutdown is for us to get an agreement on what is it that is going to be the payment to the DTT infrastructure by the broadcasters. Let's reach an agreement on that. And let's get that sorted out. Let's get an agreement. If we agree on what the fee is, once we are able to agree on what the fee is, once we are able to agree on what the fee is as a country and say that this is what broadcasters should pay, it would then be easy for us to say we are keeping the DTT active and broadcasters can continue to broadcast. That's really what we need to look at. But I'm not sure that I heard the minister say she was issuing a deadline for shutting down broadcasters or anything. That, in all fairness to the minister.
And Mrs. Nkwame, since the case is in court, the minister obviously indicates that some payment needs to come in, and that if the payment does not come in, platforms will go off. Doesn't that case that is in court currently make it difficult to reach a settlement? And Samjot has said this shouldn't be pursued through litigation. Just get a settlement on this, some agreement on this, and make the payments.
Well, I guess if some engagement would have been going on and stations are not being threatened with invoices, we probably would not also be in court. But based on the situation, we needed interpretation. And I think we've been in court for a number of months. So let's see what turns out from the court. And I think we all know the impact of when an issue is in court, the things you can do and what you cannot do. So I think we'll see how it evolves, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, I'm grateful. Thank you very much. That's Cecil Sinqua-Mills. He is the president of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association. Sam George is the deputy ranking member, communications policy. Some payments will have to come in, or as the minister warns, the platform, the DTT platform will shut down. And that would mean that your signals, your television signals to your homes will not come through. What's your take on this? 055-1111-997. News 90 in a minute.
Merry Christmas!
Uncle Yofi, what's the Wi-Fi password? I'll be downloading the music set for the party. Janice will stream old McDonald's for the kids. Mommy said she'll be trying a new YouTube recipe for oven grilled chicken. Daddy!
No worries at all. I've got 200% bonus data on my Vodafone fixed broadband this Christmas.
200% bonus data? Woohoo! It's giving Christmas vibes. Vodafone be doing the most this Christmas.
Celebrate Christmas with 200% bonus data when you pay 2 months of your Vodafone fixed broadband subscription. Simply dial *900# or visit My Vodafone app or myvodafone.vodafone.com.gh to sign up or upgrade your offer. Vodafone, further together.
Ready? Let's go. We all go bring some savannah.
Everyone is dancing, everyone is singing, because everyone is painting with Savannah. Savannah paints from Azar are affordable enough for everybody to fulfill their paint needs. Paint more, pay less. Savannah paint, we all go paint some.
We all go paint some Savannah. We all go paint some.
My people, Bronya Bantemo!
Hey, sir!
Yes! Activa Insurance Group is 25 years.
Hooray!
And they're rewarding customers with fantastic prizes in the Activa Bronya Bantem promo. Insure now and win big!
Bronya Bantem Ampa!
Yes, from now till December 15th, win big in the Activa Bronya Bantam promo. Buy or renew your insurance policy and win a weekend vacation, smartphone, TV, and other home appliances. Just dial *713*313# or visit any Activa Insurance office nationwide for your insurance policy. This promotion is in partnership with Malcolm and is regulated by the National Lottery Authority on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Activa Group, 25 years with you and more to come. Activa Insurance, our clients, our passion.
In a world where challenges abound and opportunities await, there exists a transformative journey that shapes the lives of young individuals, empowering them to reach new heights of personal and collective achievement. This year, the Head of State Award Scheme Ghana will honor a remarkable group of young individuals and adults who have traversed the path of self-discovery, conquering challenges, and embracing growth every step of the way at the National Gold Award Presentation 2023. Under the theme Nurturing Leaders for a Thriving Future, this year's Gold Award ceremony will be hosted by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana and Chief Patron of the award scheme, on 15 December 2023 at the Jubilee House at 5 o'clock p.m. Lead sponsor for the National Gold Award Presentation 2023 is Capfarm Ghana Limited and supported by the National Youth Authority, Australian High Commission, and the British High Commission. This event is strictly by invitation.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. This is Newsnight. Tonight, heads of senior high schools interdicted by Ghana Education Service fight accusations of charging unauthorized fees as conference of heads of assisted secondary schools point to fear and panic among school heads across the country.
Most of them are denying the allegations leveled against them. There's fear and panic in the region among the heads. They tell me that people are in their schools trying to get information for them to be and when it happens this way, those who don't like you in the school also take advantage and be peddling all kind of stuff against you.
We have the very latest as Charles holds emergency meeting with education authorities. Also tonight,
I am not a liar and I can't be a liar. What should I regret? I won't regret.
For the 31 years that I've been in the service, I can tell you he's the worst IGP we've ever had in this country.
It's shameful. It's not good for this country. And we cannot do this.
Now, it's been almost 2 months since the Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament concluded investigations into the IGP leak tape saga. Tonight, we ask what the committee found and what it recommended.
It's a baseless allegation, and the rest of the members of the committee thought that the lawyer who came this morning would be able to state it again and they would have responded. He couldn't mention it.
You want to stay with us for the very latest on that particular issue. Also tonight, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice is calling for an amendment of the anti-gay bill being considered by Parliament. Details as the Commission's boss says it is too harsh to punish persons who support the rights of LGBTQ plus members.
And in business, consumers could be paying for more for new petroleum specification imports from next January next year.
And in sports, Nigeria's Victor Osimhen and Aisat Oshoala expected to be crowned Men's and Women's African Player of the Year tonight.
You want to stay for details of that and more. Plus, in our schools of shame today, we put the spotlight on the Christ the Answer RC Basic School at Emefa in North Tong District, where a dilapidated structure poses a major threat to the life of a teacher and learners.
If the rain will come to the school, we don't have sitting place, so the madam will close us, then we go.
That and more coming up in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do all to join us with your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions via WhatsApp 05511119997. I am Emefa Apawu.
My name is Evans Mensah. We start tonight with that major story that dominated the headlines a few weeks back.
I am not a liar and I can't be a liar. What should I regret? I won't regret.
For the 31 years that I've been in the service, I can tell you he's the worst IGP we've ever had in this country.
It's shameful. It's not good for this country. And we cannot do this.
Well, it's been over 2 months since Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee completed its work on the alleged plot to remove the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare. It will be recalled that 3 officers accused the IGP of mismanagement of the service and allegedly began a plot to remove him, with the former MPP Northern Regional Chairman, Daniel Bugri-Nabu, and the tape that, of course, got leaked later, authenticated in the course of interrogation at the center of it all.
Well, the accusers and the IGP were taken through a thorough scrutiny and were later discharged by the Atachian-led committee, but the report is yet to be submitted to Parliament for further action. Well, here's a quick recap of some events during the hearing of the case.
So I want to clear my name that I am not a liar and I can't be a liar. What should I regret? I won't regret because what they said in the tape is serious. For a country to running the police service is like this, which a superintendent and a retired COP, all of them admitted. They tell if you want to play the tape for you to see. And if they are denying it, I will tell the committee and get any television station and read and play for the whole Ghana to hear it. I have it with me.
He is not managing the police service well. And for me, for the 31 years that I've been in the service, I can tell you he's the worst IGP we've ever had in this country.
People are hedged against each other. It's shameful. It's not good for this country. And we cannot do this. We should stop it. They can use any other thing to get anything that they want. But they shouldn't use that. They should be patriotic. Because that's the only place we have called home, Ghana. So in their quest to achieve their selfish interest, they shouldn't create confusion.
Well, so that's a quick recap of events during that particular hearing of the case. This was a very topical issue. We followed closely all the hearings, and then there were some in-camera hearings as well. Let's bring in, thankfully, the chairman of this ad hoc committee, Mr. Samuel Atachia, joining us via Zoom. Many thanks for your company here on Newsnight. Really, where are we exactly with your work? Hello, Mr. Atachia, if you have to unmute so we can hear you, sir. Okay, we'll reconnect with.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Mr. Atachia. Thank you so much for your company.
Thank you.
So we're asking exactly. It's been after almost 2 months since you concluded work on this particular leak tape. Where exactly are we with the report findings? What exactly did we find?
Well, the consultant has done his draft. The consultant is not a member of the committee, so we are now trying to look at the draft, and then we'll converge on it as members of the committee, and then we realize if we should come to conclusions that there's no short change and this is a reflective of what transpired, and these are the positions we've taken, we put it before plenary, and then that will be the end of our work.
And this consultant, at which point did we introduce this consultant into this whole picture?
The consultant was appointed by the speaker. It was the speaker who said that because of the nature of the work, we should have a consultant, a lawyer of some consequence, and it's been helpful.
And the draft before you so far, I'm sure that you'd say you didn't want to put out details just yet, but as a committee chair, from what you've seen in terms of the draft, is a reflection of what exactly happened during the process?
Well, in terms of the raw material, I wouldn't question it too much. But in terms of how to make it sound parliament is what we are looking at. You see, because when you want to do a report for parliament, it's different from when you want to write something which might look like a treatise. So we need to fine tune it to meet the requirement of making a presentation to parliament. But essentially, nobody can run away from the facts because all the facts are recorded. Nobody can improve upon the facts because the facts are recorded.
And what did the consultant find?
Well, it's not made any matter which is outside the general thinking of the committee. But as a matter of fact, it will not be fair to sort of feed the media with a report which is intended for Parliament first. And then you can scoop whatever you want after it's been delivered to Parliament. Because essentially, it will be a written document and duly signed. So when it's presented to plenary, you can treat it as you want to treat it. But I think it will not be professional for me to give you the details of the report before Parliament comes to take custody of it.
Did he recommend reforms in the Ghana Police Service, currently under the leadership of the IGP?
I'll crave your kind indulgence that whatever recommendations that we as members see, what he's doing is to bring to us certain positions, but we will own the document. So everything which will be the outcome of the draft will be what the members of the committee have decided should be the report. So whatever he says is of no consequence now. We need to own it. We need to interrogate it. We need to look at it from every perspective, the constitution, the rights of the witnesses and everything. And then we can look at it, and if there is a recommendation we should adopt, we'll adopt it. But if you have to make our own recommendations, I mean, different from what...
Hello, Mr. Atachia. We appear to have lost Mr. Atachia momentarily, but he's back. Well, but how many recommendations in all, without providing details, would you say the consultant put before you? And is it something that you, as a committee, would want to, adopt as you've put it?
My dear Emefa, you want to lead me into temptation. At this point in time, until Parliament owns it, it's unprofessional for me to discuss it. That is the position. You see, whatever is contained in the draft it is not right for me to divulge it until Parliament owns it, which means that until we put it before plenary, it shouldn't be a matter of public knowledge.
And when exactly are you putting it before plenary? We know that Parliament is rising soon for the Christmas break. When exactly are we hoping this will be done?
It should be done before we rise. You know, at the moment, a lot of things have engaged the attention of Parliament. How to pass the Appropriation Act, looking at the estimates of the various ministries and the rest of it. So all these matters are eating into the time of the committee, because members of the committee, for instance, I'm a chair of the committee, and all manner of things are distracting us. But we'll find the space to conclude this matter. It shouldn't hang too long.
As far as the facts contained in the tape as established, we know it's been authenticated. What exactly did the committee by itself find?
Well, I think this is the exercise we're trying to conclude. And I wouldn't want to say anything which might be prejudicial. Eventually, when we look at the tape, we look at the witnesses and their testimonies already captured, we'll be able to come with the conclusions of fact, and then our recommendations will follow. So this is what we are attempting to do.
Well, but from what you found so far and what you've seen the consultant put together, would it be something that would actually change or turn around the fortunes of the Ghana Police Service, you'd say?
Well, it was not intended for that. It was not intended that the committee can turn around the Ghana Police Service. We have a commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. So if there is anything that we do, it will just be a mere recommendation. The powers that be will have to enforce it or even reject it. So what we're doing is to do a persuasive fact-finding exercise. We can't go beyond that because we can't compel the president to decide who should do this or who shouldn't do this, whether this finding is, too bad for somebody or any other way you want to look at it. So the committee can't decide the fate of the Ghana Police Service. The committee can only make recommendations, and that will be the end of our remit.
Okay. Mr. Atachia, we are grateful. That's the chairman of that ad hoc committee in Parliament that was investigating the leaked tape, that's IGP leaked tape saga. And in the coming days, we are looking out for the complete report that will be laid before Parliament.
And you're still live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. And at least 11 head teachers in senior high schools across the country were interdicted for various offences, all bordering on the charging of unapproved fees. Well, tonight the teachers are fighting back, denying the accusations against them. The Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools say there is tonight fear and panic among head teachers across the country following the interdictions. Charles has today been meeting with education officials to intervene on behalf of its members. We have the latest shortly, but first listen to the president of Charles, Reverend Father Stephen Owusu-Setra, speaking on Love FM today.
Some of the issues are not the way they have been reported to him. So maybe we pray that Regional Director will listen to us and then look into the matter. And where our members are going wrong, we will come together and resolve the matter. So that is what we are going to do. We are in support. We are supporting them. We're calming them down. We don't know who and who did what because most of them are denying the allegations leveled against them. So we don't really know where the truth lies. So we are going to find out. As I said, the investigations into these matters will bring out the truth. So until then, I want us to wait and see what will happen. But everybody is fine, even though they are not happy. They are down emotionally. We are trying to meet with them. They are here. I'm going to meet with them and then talk to them and try to set them up psychologically to be strong. Because it seems to me there's fear and panic in the region among the heads. They tell me that people are in their schools trying to get information for them to be and when it happens this way, those who don't like you in the school also take advantage and be peddling all kind of stuff against you. So we want to calm them down so that they could also have that courage to work as heads of these schools for us.
And today, Charles, they've been meeting with education officials, and that meeting is ended. We'll get to clarity on what they decided pretty shortly. and also get a sense of what the GES's own investigations are up to in terms of where they are in finalizing the investigations. But as you heard there, the heads, they are denying this. The most important thing for most parents is if you've paid it, let's hear from you tonight. 05511119997. Many of you were asked to make the payments. Speak to us. Tell us what your encounter has been with your ward's school.
We'll be checking on that. And I don't know if you have any of your nieces or nephews going to school this time.
No.
We are buying cutlasses, hose, amongst others. And in fact, we have the harmonized, prospectus. Yes, but you get to the school and the things you have to pay for. Really, I'm sure that this is what the GES is investigating. But is it needed? And the real issues that Charles raises is how they ought to run these schools without the resources in place, amongst others. That's the real concern on the ground, whether that will be provided for these schools.
Well, the Africa Education Watch has been monitoring the situation across the country. I want to bring in its head. Kofi Asare joins us on the line right now. Kofi, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. These unapproved charges is something that you in EduWatch you pay close attention to. What have you found out? Because you're hearing from Charles tonight that many of the members who have been interdicted are denying this.
Well, we've also discovered things that there are many items being smuggled by some school heads onto parents. The cuts across beds, desks, admission fee, medical fees, etc. There are schools taking about 200 cedis for NHIS. And then also, in many of the schools, they are virtually running boutiques. They are selling items. It appears that some of the schools had actually stopped in anticipation of selling the items to prospective students. Then, 2 weeks ago or so, the GES came up with a unified prospectus, which did not include some of the items, or which virtually gave the freedom to parents to buy the items and then take them to school. And so you see that there's stock to be sold, but then parents have already bought the items because of the unified prospectus regime, which it appears that some of these schools were not expecting. So largely, it's widespread. It's just that some of the school heads are not writing it. It's not documented on paper, so it's difficult to get the evidence. But the parents are paying. The few who have been interdicted are those who had them scripted, on paper, so you could see that there's a list of items the parents are supposed to provide in these schools. I think that further investigation by the GES is relevant to fish out, and have the full understanding of the magnitude of this extortion.
Yeah, but you listen to Charles. Charles says there's a link between what is being charged and the needs the school currently have, and that if the heads are doing what they're doing because the schools have grave needs that the education service, the education ministry aren't meeting necessarily, and they have to find a way to get the parents to pay for this so they can take care of the children in school.
Two angles to that. First, Charles comprises staff of the GES. An employee is supposed to work with resources available, made available by the employer. If an employee is given a job, let's say to weed a farm, and the employer gives the employee a cutlass and a hoe, there is no way the employer will hold the employee accountable for not weeding with a bulldozer. The point I want to make is that headmasters must appreciate that they are supposed to deliver on their mandate, bearing in mind the resources that have been made available to them. It is not their duty to impose illegal fees onto parents because they have different expectations in terms of resources. You will only be held accountable for the resources that your employer has made available to you. However, if Charles and headmasters feel strongly that the financing regime for the free senior school policy is inadequate, they must come out publicly with proposals in terms of what amount of A, B, C, D, E items is adequate to run schools effectively. Because I believe that government is also interested in ensuring that the free senior school is not just implemented, but it's implemented effectively.
But Kofi,
So
I
why is
recall
that not
at the
coming out?
recent conference by Charles, they actually put out their needs. They actually talked about how dire the situation is in their schools, and this was the time when something as common as food was in short supply. They had a food crisis across the country. They
Ivan,
spoke about it.
all this while, what Charles has been speaking about are two things. One, delay in the disbursement of items and funds for running schools. And then two, the centralized procurement of food. And they put before His Excellency the President that something should be done about decentralizing the food to the school level, and then also ensuring that funds for running the free school program are disbursed annually. These two issues are not necessarily the main reason why extra money is being demanded by TAS. Extra money being demanded means that even if the funds you require is disbursed, you will still need more money to run the policy effectively. So come out with your counter proposal in respect of how much you think government should spend per unit per day on each child and what increment you are expecting. Then stakeholders can have a discussion. You can congregate around the issues and discuss your proposals for increasing the cost, implication of the policy on government. But it is true that in many instances, delays in the release of items, school uniforms, exercise books, feeding, has been the justification for CHAS to find innovative ways of getting money from parents to run the policy. That is a truism. And I put that squarely at the doorstep of the Ministry of Finance for not releasing free senior high school funding timelessly. We expect that the Finance Ministry will speak to the policy objective of the free senior high school policy and expedite budget and expedite action on budget credibility. However, it is important that whenever CHAS or CHAS members demand money from parents, to atone for deficits as a result of delayed disbursement, when those disbursements come in, whether they are card disbursements or they are items, CHAS members should have a mechanism where they refund the money to parents or to government. Other than that, you will be doing the duplicate funding of a free school policy when we need money to do other things in the education sector. That, for me, is the reason why we must congregate around the issues and have an honest discussion around the financing mechanism of the policy to see whether the money being given to CHAS, the items being given to CHAS, is adequate or not. And if something needs to be added, then we know how to manage it. But in terms of the delayed disbursement, I'm saying that we need to have a discussion about the disbursement of items, because we speak, schools have reopened. There are no exercise books. There are no uniforms yet. But government is supposed to supply them. So what happens in the interim? Teaching must go on. So we create the opportunity for child members to also, be innovative in getting money from parents to fill in the void. Both parties must play their role, but you must have a discussion about solving this issue holistically, especially when parents are supporting feeding in schools. When parents support feeding in schools and the food eventually arrives later, how is the food accounted for? Because parents have paid some money. That food should go to government.
And these are real fundamental issues that this whole conversation around interdictions raises, and this is a subject that we will need to return to in a bit more detail. Thank you very much, Kofi Asare there. But most importantly, if you're a parent listening to us tonight and you have experienced what is going on, you've been charged an unauthorized fee, get in touch, 055-111-997. Emefa, you pay for what, cutlass?
Cutlass holes, you pay for all kinds of things. But, of course, you're also thinking about the welfare of the child. So if you don't give them what they're asking for, how will they survive on campus?
Exactly. The school is asking for it, and you say for you, you're right, you're not going to pay. That's
you would
not
have
fair.
to leave the child on campus.
Yes,
how would they survive?
Exactly.
Is another issue, because the schools don't have it. That's the reality on the ground. But talking about schools, let me take you to Mensah in the North Tong district. Rusty roofing sheet protecting an already wobbly wooden structure with eroded cement bricks on the site is the simplest description one can give of Christ the Answer RC Basic School in Mensah. Before we go to Mensah, okay. Now, with the shortage of teachers, effective learning has been adversely affected in the number of schools in the area. Clinton Yeboah visited the communities and has come through with today's episode of Ghana Schools of Shame.
The structure is worn out, weathered and hangs loosely, but accommodates not less than 60 pupils in the school all the years gone by. The classrooms are crafted from standing wood, walled with plain concrete blocks, serving as a mini wall. Classes come to an abrupt close when the clouds gather.
If the rain will come to the school, we don't have sitting place, so the madam will close us, then we go.
The school is located in the Emefa traditional area. Their predicaments come on the blind side of an abandoned classroom block. PTS Agbemo Nomenyo is the assembly member.
And we are hoping that as the contractor was on site and what he told us, this project will have finished earlier for students to move into the classrooms. All efforts for the project to be completed are proof future.
33-year-old Patience Nyamiche is the only teacher handling all the classes from kindergarten to primary 6 since 2015. With no remuneration, Patience is motivated by the smiles of her pupils to persevere in teaching.
But we are two. The person that is my headmaster has passed away, and I'm here alone without any assistant. But I know that if I'm here, the student will become somebody in future.
Residents are appealing for a better condition.
We are pleading with them to come to the aid of the community and then help them finish the infrastructure so that students can move in quickly to improve their education.
Because this school, academically, they are doing well. They are doing well, but because of all these pertinent issues, the academic work, for my assessment, is going down because you don't have teachers in the school for maybe 2 years and sometimes a term. Then those teachers leave the school and the new teacher come. It doesn't help. Educationally, it doesn't help.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yabua.
I want to return to the story about the interdiction of the head teachers across the country. I want to bring in Reverend Father Stephen Owusu-Setra. He's the president of CHAS. Reverend, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
I know today you've been meeting the education officials. What's the outcome of those meetings?
Yes, good evening and to you and your cherished listeners. Yes, today has been a very busy day for us. We have had series of meetings, especially, yesterday we met with all the heads in the country, and we had to talk to ourselves and advise ourselves to maybe desist from certain things we have been told not to do. Again, I listened to my people who have been asked to step aside for investigations, and some of them were so down. So as the leader, we have to meet with them. I have to meet them and then calm them down and ensure that they have that psychological strength to move on in their work as heads. Today, the only meeting I had was the Ashanti Regional Charge Chairman, those who have been asked to step aside, and the Regional Director and the Centurage. The meeting was successful, and we were told that tomorrow there's going to be another meeting with the school of those heads and their management, and then they will look at the way forward. By and large, everything has been successful. We have spoken with our people to ensure that they stay within the directives from the Director General, and so that we don't have or register any incident of stepping aside again.
In Ashanti region, 7 of your members were interdicted, and that's the region with the single largest number. You met the education director there today. Was there an agreement? You said successful. Was there an agreement for them to be reinstated?
That was not the case, but you see, the way the whole thing is, there's going to be a committee of inquiry to look into the matter, because my people also have a different story. In most cases, some of them are saying that when those who came to pick the information came to the schools, they were not really informed about what they saw. So some of them were really oblivious about some of the charges.
As in these charges were being levied on their blind side by somebody in the school.
In some cases, according to some heads, some of the charges, the incidents will happen outside the school, and in some instances, it took place in the school. But in some instances, one head was outside the school at KTI trying to check his protocol OPT numbers and all that. And the officers went in when she was not around. And these things that they picked, she was not informed, and all she saw was the letter on social media and all that. So there should be a committee of inquiry to find the facts, whether or not whatever that is leveled against them was the case and is the case, and then we will know the truth in the matter. So until that committee is set up, we wouldn't know exactly where the truth lies.
But it's a fact, is it not, that some of the your members who have been interdicted admit that
it's a fact. They didn't ask to step aside.
Exactly, and they admit to you, that they need charge those unauthorized fees. And if that's the case, if they've admitted, they should just, of course, their appointment be terminated. You agree with that?
Termination of appointment is not the case now, as you say. If you are asked to step aside because the thing happened on campus, okay, it's not. You cannot say that the headmistress was sitting there collecting monies. In some cases, the PTA doing it. In some cases, one or two people were doing it at the blind side of the head. And since we're in charge and you are also around, you are asked to step aside for investigations. So we cannot say that the appointment is terminated. That's not the case now, please.
I know, but I'm saying for those who admit that they actually charge these unauthorized fees, that's the inevitable outcome, is it not?
As a matter of fact, I have not heard any of them admitting that he or she charged unauthorized fee and all that, but that didn't happen in the school. So we are waiting for the investigations to go on, and later on we know what the authority will say about that.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the Reverend Father Stephen Owusu, Secretary of the Child's President, speaking to us about the ongoing investigations, and he's asking for a committee of inquiry to go into the allegations. And after business, I will share with you a few of your messages on this particular subject, as many of you are sending your words to school in the last few days. George Affe is here. George, did you go to... Oh, yeah, you were at PSEC. You were a day student?
No, I was a boarder.
Okay. Did you pay anything?
I don't know, because at that time my parents
did it for you, so you have an idea.
I didn't know what.
But since then, have you paid the school fees for anybody? No?
No,
not yet. Okay. Because I have, Emefa Apawu has too.
Yeah. My kid sisters.
Yeah. Okay. George, what do you have in the headlines?
Coming up, consumers could be paying more for new product specification imports from January next year. And government promises to deal with financial challenges facing any sector, which has resulted in some power supply challenges in recent times. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery and Syntax Tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Imagine strutting into the most anticipated wedding of the year. Only to see 7 other girls wearing your exact same outfit.
You are special and one of a kind, and that's why whether it's voice, data or SMS, you get to enjoy personalized offers tailored to your specific needs with MTN Just For You. Dial *141# or select your options on the My MTN app to redeem your unique Just For You package on Ghana's best mobile network. MTN.
son. We are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough.
It is your time to vote for your assembly members and unit committee members. So get involved in voting.
Citizens of Ghana, this is an urgent call from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE. District level election is here again. This year's election will take place on the 19th of December 2023. Every 4 years, Ghanaians are enjoined to elect citizens to serve as assembly and unit committee members to help facilitate the development of your community and the district. The time to exercise that civic duty is now. On Tuesday, December 19th, 2023, visit your voting center between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. with your valid voter's ID card and cast your vote to elect your preferred candidate. Remember, democracy begins at the local governance level. Your vote counts. Vote for development change agents. Vote for Ghana. A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
Media Sambisanda mo. Eti emrati no mu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodompe mo ma ya kono. Eye kwabna. No mu hwan so na tumi just male ma yɛ nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kwabna tumi hwe na bodompe mo sense oyi super accident eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Wo si eti na mo ho ban na sem ma na ho de ne. Sa ani na kudwo nso yi super accident chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye kregen fita. Na wotimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo. Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Trading Katuyatu.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone. Yeah. The luckiest.
Keep buying your luckiest ticket with star 712 hash as an individual, a group, an association, or even a community, and stand a chance of winning in the community draw or the ultimate draw on 23rd of December. Be the luckiest on star 712 hash and win millions. Ticket sale starts on October 4th, 2023, and draw date is on 23rd December 2023. Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Win millions on star 712 hash.
The luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, consumers of petroleum products could be forced to pay more with the new petroleum product specification import from January 2024. It follows directive from the National Petroleum Authority for importers to bring in a higher product specification from next year. This has been influenced by complaints from motorists that the current products are destroying their engines. Chief Executive of the Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, Dr. Patrick Okofori, has been explaining to Joy Business why this could happen.
The new guidelines stipulate that we should bring in 2 magnesium per liter, which is okay with us. But in all this, there are certainly an impact that comes with it with regards to pricing. We still engaging and dependent on who you are picking from and the volumes that they are bringing in. So now if you are coming in with a certain specification purely for a particular group of customers, let's say Ghana, that the other sub-regions are different. The logistics and other things may impact on that. But be it that may, we still think that we can negotiate and ensure that there isn't that much impact financially on that. But
Dr. Patrick Okofori is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies. Now, government has given the assurance that it is working to deal with financial challenges facing the energy sector. The development has resulted in some power supply challenges in recent times, resulting in outages in some areas. Deputy Minister of Energy Andre Mensah has been speaking about some of these extra measures being instituted to deal with this challenge.
In the coming days, you would hear an announcement of the discussions that government has had with the IPPs, such that that obligation would then reduce. Then you put in investment in the ECG system itself to improve efficiency, okay, so that within the short, medium to long term, you can deal with that problem comprehensively. We're working on it to ensure that, rest assured, going into next year, as has been the case in the past 7 years, there will not be doomsday.
Deputy Minister of Energy Andrew Mensah. Now, the Bank of Ghana has indicated that it will not rule out naming and shaming banks and other financial institutions found to be breaching its forex market regulations. This is part of other tough measures the regulator is already rolling out in terms of ensuring market compliance. There is more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana had in the past been silent on communicating to the public on sanctions taken against some of the financial institutions and commercial banks that have breached the laws. The move was influenced by fears that if this communication is not carried out well, it could cause a run on some of these financial institutions. However, it appears that is changing as the regulator has indicated that it could be naming and shaming these institutions that have breached its laws and regulations, especially when it comes to issues surrounding forex operations in the banking sector. The Bank of Ghana believes that this, together with other actions, may send signals to the players about the central bank's resolve to strictly enforce these regulations. Sources close to the Bank of Ghana have told Joy Business that the strict enforcement of these regulations had contributed to the Ghana cedi's marginal stability on the market. But will the fear about having the name of your financial institutions or bank being put out there in the public do the trick? Well, time will tell.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, government has expressed commitment to providing the right atmosphere for businesses that want to grow in a sustainable environment. It cites some policy measures rolled out in the budget as indicative of its zeal to support enterprises going green in the economy. Professor John Balfour is the chairman of the National Development Planning Commission and has been speaking at the SDG Investment Fair in Accra, which connected with other partners around the world virtually.
As a country, we recognize that the transition to a green economy is not just an environmental imperative, but also a significant economic opportunity. Ghana launched her Climate Prosperity Plan, which is a strategy to facilitate our transition towards low-carbon economy, focusing on projects that are climate resilient in the areas of 1, resilient and sustainable transformation of energy, transportation, health, and the built environment. 2, resilient health, sanitation.
and the chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, Professor George John Bafo. Now, Winnipeg, Ghana has launched a platform in the country where individuals can purchase a ticket with a small amount of money and stand a chance to win a car, big cash prizes, and expensive gadgets and other prizes. Executive Assistant Ifwa Nyako said the raffle is aimed at giving people the opportunity to win items to cover some of their urgent needs.
It has been a long year for many Ghanaians and a tough one at that. And so we were looking for a way to bring some excitement, and especially as the year was ending, we wanted to do this as a way to encourage people, give people some hope, whilst having fun, while hoping to get that laptop or that phone or some money you're hoping to get to handle some expenses that have been piling up for long. For us at Winnipeg, what we look forward to is the excitement when people win prizes.
Executive Assistant at Winnipeg, Ghana, Ifwa Nyako. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and Emefa.
Thank you very much, George. Let's do some of your messages that you've sent in. We have this one from Sopo. Remember, Nanglogagove, he says sacking or putting a ban on some head teachers for unapproved fees is because the free SHS is not being scrutinized well, which is causing the schools to lag behind. He says, and then this one says, I paid 2,000 Ghana cedis for my award. And he mentions the schools for obvious reasons. I would not put that out. Felix in Ho says, is the government saying that they are not aware of the challenges in the schools? Whatever is happening in our institutions today was propagated by the politicians. They should stop the hypocrisy and fat lies. And Major One in Kumasi said it appears there are two different sets of laws for the NPP-led government officials and heads of senior high schools. When Mr. Martin Amidu alleged the president, really, I think he's bringing some context in there. And Michael Semado from Angloga says headmasters, headmistresses are the people on the field. They know what the children need. Government is not in the various schools, so some heads are not offered, but some heads are doing more than what they are supposed to do to help the students well. And this one also from Nanayao in Cape Coast says, look, we're tired of this government with its free SHS issues and the interdiction of innocent heads of our SHSs. Some of your messages that you've sent in. Many thanks for sending them in.
If I have a question for you, who is your assemblyman?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I saw one going round campaigning last night in the area.
Maybe he may be an aspirant.
Caught my attention. Yes, aspirant.
Not the assemblyman.
We should forget the NPP and the NDC and vote for people who can, develop official town for us.
So bottom line, you don't know who your assemblyman is. Okay. I like your honesty. If you ask me, I'll make up a name for you. Ask Animoro. How would you know if it's someone? Exactly. But therein likes the challenge that the EC is facing in getting people excited about the district level elections that will be happening pretty soon this month. Some would say they have lost interest entirely in the district level elections simply because years of voting have simply not improved conditions in their communities. And I guess for you, it may be the same also. Now, the reason is deep in concerns highlighted by local government is the Damboche and some MPs who fear a low participation in elections. We'll hear from him shortly. Before that, though, here are some potential voters who interacted with my colleague Gift Sweetie.
Christian Sweetie.
On this subject. Just asking the same question I just asked Emefa. Listen.
No, I don't know my assemblyman.
One or two about assembly elections, Nimuda. Obian to Abad. I don't know Abano.
Even when you vote for these leaders, they do not do anything in the community. I don't see the reason I should waste my time to vote for them. It's always a repetition. You vote one into power, and they don't do anything until the next elections, and the next person is voted into power. There really is no use in voting for them. I have noticed that if you vote for any leader in this country, you are simply giving them opportunity to enrich themselves and their families. That is why I'm not interested in voting for anyone.
When him say, we do right, no responsibility, say, we elect Obi for local government. I also be representative. So if something is going on in your community that is not good or needs the attention of government, that is the person who is supposed to go and represent and talk about your grievances. How do we make sure, say, going forward, the right thing is done?
I'm not only person I can vote to the.
I am not the only person who needs to vote for them to work. If I don't, someone else will, and if they win, they will do what they have to do.
See me, and you have win. So what you're supposed to do, you have to do it.
Well, from this little disco, it is clear that the disconnect between the election of these local leaders into assembly and districts and the roles and responsibilities that they are supposed to be fulfilling is one clear reason why there's a declining voter participation in the local elections.
Christiana Sweetie Abochi there interacting with some of you on your assemblyman and what you're expecting in your area. We know this issue came up in Parliament, and the local government minister, Dan Kubuche, has concerns and wants all of us to participate fully.
I entreat my honorable members of Parliament in this August House to whip up enthusiasm of the electorate to turn out on Tuesday, 19 December 2023, and vote massively for the representatives to their respective district assemblies and unit committees. Right, Honorable Speaker, the critical role of the media in creating awareness of this level elections cannot be overemphasized. Accurate and timely reportage by the media on key issues which will shape local governance should whip up and sustain the level of public interest in the processes leading up to the conduct of this level elections. It is therefore envisaged that the time and energy devoted for presidential and parliamentary elections by our friends in the media fraternity is replicated in the upcoming district level elections.
Let's bring in the Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Sribo Kwaku, joins us right now. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Are we ready?
Hello.
Hi, Doc. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight.
Good evening.
Yes, ready for Tuesday?
Yes, tomorrow week we are ready.
But it appears people aren't ready. I mean, the bars out there, if you listen to the voices we played before we came to you, people are simply not interested. That's a challenge, isn't it?
I'm not getting your voice.
Can you hear me, sir?
It was bad, so if you can come back.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, it's okay now.
Great. I mean, how is the EC dealing with this?
I'm getting feedback.
Yes.
I'm getting feedback.
How is the EC dealing with these concerns about apathy ahead of Tuesday?
Well, we have been running adverts on the activities. As I speak to you, we are mounting platform. Mounting is just the engagement of the voters and the candidates. So, with all these reasons, please, we are hoping that people will come to appreciate the essence of the grassroots democracy. We cannot be talking of general elections without paying attention to the grassroots democracy that is the district level elections. The assembly members and the unit committees are the agents for local development. So with the advisor we are running and the platform mountain, we hope that this time around the interest will be better than it used to be.
Thank you very much. That's the Director of Electoral Services at the EC. This is important. It's your civic responsibility. And as the EC Director of Electoral Services head is saying there, you need to get out and vote next week, Tuesday. Emefa Apawu, whether you know your assemblyman or not, you have to.
Musba wants a holiday.
Musba wants a holiday.
Yes,
Tuesday,
it should be a holiday so we can all go and vote. So we shouldn't come to work on Tuesday, right?
Oh, let me call the
Interior
Minister for you. I'll call the Interior Minister for you, ask him that question. But who is your assemblyman, Ms. Bao?
He's got a name. He's a man.
Of course, he's got a name. I like that. What do you have in sports?
Well, I mean, the CAF Awards is already underway all the way in Morocco, and what we've picked up is that Victor Osimhen and Aissat Oshoala are expected to be crowned Men's and Women's African Player of the Year, some few hours from now. Of course, the award has been staged in Marrakesh, Morocco, and the Nigerian duo Victor Osimhen and Aissat Oshoala, they've been very impressive this season. For Victor Osimhen, who is a Napoli forward, he performed creditably well for the Italian side last season, which also saw them clinch the league title. And for the lady Oshoala, who plays for Barcelona, she impressed also in the Spanish league while also guiding them to the UEFA Champions League last season. Well, for Osimhen, he will be up against Mohamed Salah and Achraf Hakimi for this very award over there. So we wait to see. I'm sure by 8 p.m. the award should be handed to the two of them. But let me just get you something from the former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah, because he's asked the Ghana Football Association to finalize their plans for the Black Stars Africa Cup of Nations preparations to avoid destruction. Now, Appiah's comment follow a recent revelation by the Deputy Minister for the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Evans Opoku-Bobi, who says his ministry has no idea what a team will pitch camp ahead of the 2023 AFCON. Well, Bobby made this known in an interview, and Stephen Appiah says it cannot be that we haven't finalized that ahead of the tournament.
A lot of distractions, because at the end of the day, when you are going to a tournament, you want everything to be done some weeks or months before you travel to the tournament. And as you're saying, here we still even don't know the venues that the team will go and camp and all that. So we hope that whatever is happening, they know better, and they should finalize everything earlier on. So our boys who go to camp in peace, they will represent Ghana in the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, and we'll see what they will come out with.
Well, former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah there. That's all we have for you in sports.
Are you ready for Christmas, Musbah?
Yeah, it feels a bit ready. We've got some bags of rice and all of that, some oil, so it looks ready. Left with the chicken.
Right,
so Evans, maybe the
Emefa,
chicken.
but we haven't gone for us.
Yeah,
we have to. Yeah.
We'll go for it. Well, it's almost time for Christmas, and we're all looking forward to that. And Accra now is looking like London. Because the light up the city has become an integral part of the Yuletide. The gleaming lights that adorn the Liberation Circle and the stretch from the Akwaje Interchange to the central business district of Accra and other areas of the city spark a festive mood for many. Maxwell Agbagba was at the 2023 launch of the event and now reports.
3, 2, 1, and 0. There we go. Take a look, people. There we go. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
The heartwarming sounds of Christmas carols fill the air at the main event. Here at the Ridge Roundabout, the streets have come alive. Twinkling fairy lights hanged from Christmas trees resembling bright stars in a dark sky. Twinkling lights all over here, transforming the ordinary into a magical realm where each tree at the roundabout glows. The streets do not look the same anymore with these lights. Accra is now a city of lights.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle all the way.
Speaking at the 2023 launch of Light Up the City, CEO of Jandel Limited and the brain behind the decorations, Afia Moru, said she's hopeful that soon other regions will also get to benefit from the joy the Christmas lights bring.
This year, we have the pleasure of hosting over 300 children from the community and orphanages to join in the parade, and many of our sponsors have donated gift items to make their celebration even more special.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, is optimistic Light Up the Parade will become bigger and an important event on Ghana's Christmas calendar.
Everybody has to be part of the celebration, and seeing that kids from Jamestown, from Osu, from Adabraka were all part of the celebration today is something that we must applaud. Light up the parade, light up the city, and the parade that we saw today is something that will grow in leaps and bounds and become a very iconic event for Ghana.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Felix Nabuda.
Hey.
Wait,
Adabraka boy.
I'm still at the Braka for real.
Yeah.
But you remember what it was when you were growing up?
I don't remember.
Exactly. You were all singing it like that.
Singing everything, anything that comes to mind, Charlie.
But what actually is the
Feliz Navidad. It's Espanol.
I still don't know.
Please, let's get out of here. It's time for That's My Opinion with Nana and Sakwao. What are we looking at?
The 24-hour economy thingy.
Okay. 24
That's what
hour.
we're talking about.
Okay. You want to stay for That's My Opinion. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.